2. Explanation of the Discourse on the Eightfold Cave. Here I will explain the Discourse on the Eightfold Cave. 778. 772. One who clings to the cave, the body, covered by much delusion, sinking and dwelling amidst objects that cause delusion, is truly far from the state of seclusion. For worldly objects of desire are not easily abandoned. One who clings to the cave, the body, covered by much delusion means clings is said, but first, the cave should be explained. The cave refers to the body. It may be called body, cave, flesh, deha, embodiment, sandaya, boat, chariot, flag, anthill, fortress, nest, hut, swelling, vessel, or elephant. These are synonyms for the body. Clinging to the cave means clinging, satta, strongly clinging, visatta, closely clinging, asatta, settling, adhering, and becoming an obstacle. For example, just as an object clings, strongly clings, closely clings, settles, adheres, and becomes an obstacle on a wall, nail, or hook, so too does one cling, strongly cling, closely cling, settle, adhere, and become an obstacle in the cave, the body. This was taught by the Blessed One. Radha, if regarding form, rupa, it exists as desire, greed, delight, craving, attachment, fixation, or habit. Then there is clinging, satta, and strong clinging, visatta. Therefore, it is called a sentient being, satta. Radha, if regarding feeling, vedana, omitted, perception, sana, formations, sakra, consciousness, vaya, it exists as desire, greed, delight, craving, attachment, fixation, or habit. Then there is clinging and strong clinging. Therefore, it is called a sentient being. Sentient being is a synonym for attachment. Thus, clinging to the cave, covered by much delusion means covered by many defilements. Greed, anger, delusion, resentment, hatred, hypocrisy, cruelty, envy, stinginess, deceit, flattery, arrogance, rage, conceit, overestimation, pride, negligence, all defilements, all evil deeds, all afflictions, all sufferings, all distress, all heat, all unwholesome actions. Covered, firmly covered, concealed, obscured, protected, veiled, blocked, hidden, and enveloped. Thus, covered by much delusion. Sinking and dwelling amidst objects that cause delusion means such a person dwells in the world as one who greedily clings due to greed, angrily clings due to anger, deludedly clings due to ignorance, binds due to conceit, clings to wrong views, becomes scattered due to restlessness, becomes indecisive due to doubt, and becomes obstinate due to latent tendencies. In this way, dwelling person. This was taught by the Blessed One. Monks, there exist forms cognizable by the eye that are agreeable, lovely, pleasing, endearing, and desirable. If a monk delights in, welcomes, and clings to them, monks, there exist sounds cognizable by the ear, smells cognizable by the nose, tastes cognizable by the tongue, tactile objects cognizable by the body, mental objects cognizable by the mind that are agreeable, lovely, pleasing, endearing, and desirable. If a monk delights in, welcomes, and clings to them, in this way, dwelling person. This was taught by the Blessed One. Monks, cognition associated with form settles while settling, establishes itself in form, delights in it, increases, grows, and expands. Monks, cognition associated with feeling, omitted, perception, formation settles while settling, establishes itself in formations, delights in them, increases, grows, and expands. In this way, dwelling person. This was also taught by the Blessed One. Monks, if regarding material food, Kabalankarahara, there exists greed, delight, and craving, then consciousness becomes established and grows. When consciousness becomes established and grows, there is conception in name and form, namarupa. When there is conception in name and form, formations increase. When formations increase, future existence arises. When future existence arises, birth, aging, and death occur. When birth, aging and death occur. Monks, I declare it to be something with sorrow, dust and conflict. In this way, dwelling person. Monks, if regarding sense contact as food, vasahara, omitted, volitional thought as food, manosansatanahara, consciousness as food vira, there exists greed, delight, and craving, then consciousness becomes established and grows. When consciousness becomes established and grows, there is conception in name and form. When there is conception in name and form, formations increase. When formations increase, future existence arises. When future existence arises, birth, aging, and death occur. When birth, aging, and death occur, monks, I declare it to be something with sorrow, dust, and conflict. In this way, dwelling person. Sinking amidst objects that cause delusion means objects that cause delusion are explained as the 5 strands of sensual pleasure. Panka kamagu forms cognizable by the eye that are agreeable, lovely, pleasing, endearing, and desirable. Sounds cognizable by the ear, omitted. Smells cognizable by the nose. Tastes cognizable by the tongue. Tactile objects cognizable by the body that are agreeable, lovely, pleasing, endearing, and desirable. What is the basis for explaining objects that cause delusion as the 5 strands of sensual pleasure? Many gods and humans become deluded, equally deluded, and universally deluded by the 5 strands of sensual pleasure. Deluded, equally deluded, and universally deluded. They are made ignorant, obscured, veiled, blocked, hidden, and enveloped by ignorance. On this basis, objects that cause delusion are explained as the 5 strands of sensual pleasure. Sinking amidst objects that cause delusion means sinking, submerging, entering, and remaining amidst objects that cause delusion. Thus, sinking and dwelling amidst objects that cause delusion. Such a person is far from the state of seclusion, means seclusion has 3 kinds. 1. Bodily seclusion. 2. Mental seclusion. 3. Seclusion from supports. 1. What is bodily seclusion? Here, a monk dwells in remote places such as forests, at the foot of trees, in mountains, valleys, caves, charnel grounds, wilderness, open fields, or straw piles, physically secluded. He goes alone, stands alone, sits alone, lies down alone, enters villages alone for alms, returns alone, sits alone in solitude, meditating, establishes walking meditation, kankama, alone, walks alone, lives alone, behaves alone, practices alone, guards his conduct alone, maintains himself alone, and sustains himself alone. This is bodily seclusion. 2. What is mental seclusion? For one who attains the first jhana, the mind becomes secluded from the 5 hindrances. For one who attains the second jhana, the mind becomes secluded from applied and sustained thought, vitakka vikara. For one who attains the third jhana, the mind becomes secluded from joy, pity. For one who attains the 4th jhana, the mind becomes secluded from pleasure and pain, sukha dukkha. For one who attains the base of infinite space, the mind becomes secluded from perceptions of form, perceptions of resistance, Vipassana, and various perceptions, Nanatasana. For one who attains the base of infinite consciousness, the mind becomes secluded from perceptions of the base of infinite space. For one who attains the base of nothingness, the mind becomes secluded from perceptions of the base of infinite consciousness. For one who attains the base of neither perception nor non-perception, the mind becomes secluded from perceptions of the base of nothingness. For a stream enterer, the mind becomes secluded from identity view, sakaya daihai, doubt, visakicha, attachment to rites and rituals, syllabata paramesa, latent tendencies of wrong views, latent tendencies of doubt, and all defilements associated with that stage. For a once returner, the mind becomes secluded from gross craving for sense objects, gross aversion, paiga, latent tendencies of gross craving, latent tendencies of gross aversion, and all defilements associated with that stage. For a non-returner, the mind becomes secluded from subtle craving for sense objects, subtle aversion, latent tendencies of subtle craving, latent tendencies of subtle aversion, and all defilements associated with that stage. For an arahant, the mind becomes secluded from craving for the form realm, rupa dhatu, craving for the formless realm, arupa dhatu, conceit, mana, restlessness, adhaka, ignorance, avijja, latent tendencies of conceit, latent tendencies of craving for existence, latent tendencies of ignorance and all external forms. This is mental seclusion. 3. What is seclusion from supports? Supports are explained as defilements, aggregates, and activities. Seclusion from supports is explained as the deathless nibbana, namely the cessation of all formations, the relinquishing of all supports, the extinction of craving, dispassion, cessation, nibbana. This is seclusion from supports. 1. Bodily seclusion belongs to those who have secluded bodies and delight in renunciation. 2. Mental seclusion belongs to those whose minds have attained perfect purity and reached the highest purification. 3. Seclusion from supports belongs to those who have abandoned all clinging to existence, bhava. Truly far from the state of seclusion means that if he clings to the cave, the body in this way is covered by many defilements in this way, and sinks into objects that cause delusion in this way, he is far from bodily seclusion, far from mental seclusion, far from seclusion from supports, far, very far, absent in the present, absent nearby, absent close by, distant. Such a kind of person refers to such a person, one who establishes it, makes it their practice, resembles it. Namely, one who sinks into objects that cause delusion. Thus, truly, such a kind of person is far from the state of seclusion. For worldly objects of desire are not easily abandoned means desires broadly fall into two categories. 1. Desires for things and 2. Desires arising from mental defilements. 1. What are desires for things? Agreeable forms, agreeable sounds, agreeable smells, agreeable tastes, agreeable tactile sensations, mats, clothes, slaves and servants, goats and sheep, chickens and pigs, elephants, cattle, horses, mules, fields, lands, coins, gold, villages, towns, cities, regions, territories, storehouses, granaries, whatever can be craved or desires for things. Furthermore, past desires, future desires, present desires, internal desires, external desires, both internal and external desires, inferior desires, middling desires, refined desires, desires of bad destinations, human desires, heavenly desires, desires of beings in other realms except hell, desires of created beings in the Deva realm of Nimanarati, desires of uncreated beings, desires of beings created by others in the Deva realm of Paranimita Vasavati, universally appropriated. Desires, non-universally appropriated desires, wrongly appropriated desires, non-wrongly appropriated desires, all phenomena of the desire realm, kammathana, all phenomena of the form realm, rupadhatu, all phenomena of the formless realm, arupadhatu. If they become the basis or object of craving, then by the meaning of what is desirable, what is craved, what intoxicates, they become objects of desire. These are called desires for things. 2. What are desires arising from mental defilements? Desire, chanda, is a desire. Greed, lobha, is a desire. Desire and greed together are a desire. Thought, vitakka, is a desire. Greed is a desire. Thought and greed together are a desire. Namely, desire for the 5 objects of sense desire, craving for sense objects, delight in sense objects, thirst for sense objects, attachment to sense objects, anguish over sense objects, indulgence in sense objects, clinging to sense objects, the flood of sense objects, the yoke of sense objects, grasping at sense objects, and the hindrance of desire for sense objects. As the verse says, desire, I have seen your root. Desire, you arise from wrong thought. I no longer think of you. Desire, thus you cannot exist. These are called desires arising from mental defilements. In the world refers to the world of bad destinations, the human world, the heavenly world, the world of the 5 aggregates, khandas, the world of the 18 elements, datas, and the world of the 12 sense bases, ayatanas. For worldly objects of desire are not easily abandoned, means that worldly objects of desire are hard to abandon, hard to discard, hard to relinquish completely, hard to remove, hard to expel, hard to transcend, hard to ascend beyond, hard to overcome equally. Thus, for worldly objects of desire are not easily abandoned. Therefore, the Blessed One said, One who clings to the cave, the body, covered by much delusion, sinking and dwelling amidst objects that cause delusion, is truly far from the state of seclusion. For worldly objects of desire are not easily abandoned. 779. 773. Those bound by the condition of mental craving, tied to the pleasures of existence, they cannot attain liberation. For there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found. Some people expectantly look to the future or reflect on the past, craving with greedy thoughts for these present objects of desire or for things of the past. Those bound by the condition of mental craving, tied to the pleasures of existence, means craving is explained as thirst, ta, namely, lust, raga, attachment, covetousness, affection, delight, greed for delight, mental attachment, craving, indulgence, clinging, seeking, universal seeking, attachment, saga, mire, agitation, illusion, generative force that produces sasra, productive force that produces suffering, binding love that sows, net, flow, attachment, visadika, thread, clinging, visarada, habitual action that creates karma, companion, fervent wish, leading to existence, forest of desire, undergrowth of desire, fondness, attachment, expectation, bondage, aspiration, wishing, having wishes, wishing for forms, wishing for sounds, wishing for smells, wishing for tastes, wishing for tactile sensations, wishing for gain, wishing for wealth, wishing for children, wishing for life, thirst, strong thirst, firm thirst, thirsting, having thirst, agitation, agitating, having agitation, questioning, desiring good, lust, raga, for what is unjust, greed, lobha, for injustice, longing, envy, equal longing, craving for sensual pleasures, kammathana, craving for existence, bhavata, craving for non-existence, vibhavata, craving for the form realm, rupadhatu, craving for the formless realm, arupadhatu, craving for the cessation attainment, nirodha samapatti, craving for forms, craving for sounds, craving for smells, craving for tastes, craving for tactile sensations, craving for mental objects, flood, bond, restraint, grasping, upadana, obstruction, hindrance, nvara, covering, binding, accompanying defilements, upakalisa, latent tendencies, anusuya, entanglement, sanajana, vine, materialism, root of suffering, condition of suffering, origin of suffering, Mara's snare, Mara's hook, Mara's domain, river of craving, net of craving, leather strap of craving, sea of craving, greed, covetousness, lobha, root of what is unwholesome. Those bound by the condition of mental craving means those conditioned by mental craving, caused by mental craving, dependent on mental craving, motivated by mental craving, originating from mental craving. Thus, those bound by the condition of mental craving, those bound by the pleasures of existence, they cannot attain liberation. For there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found. Some people expectantly look to the future or reflect on the past, craving with greedy thoughts for these present objects of desire or for things of the past. Bound by the pleasures of existence refers to one pleasure of existence. Pleasant feeling, sukha vedana. There are two pleasures of existence. Pleasant feeling and agreeable things. There are three pleasures of existence. Youth, health, and life. There are four pleasures of existence. Gain, fame, praise, and happiness. There are five pleasures of existence. Agreeable forms, agreeable sounds, agreeable smells, agreeable tastes, and agreeable tactile sensations. There are six pleasures of existence. The perfection of the eye, complete visual function, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Bound by the pleasures of existence refers to those bound by pleasant feelings, those bound by agreeable things, those bound by youth, those bound by health, those bound by life, those bound by gain, those bound by fame, those bound by praise, those bound by happiness, those bound by agreeable forms, those bound by agreeable sounds, agreeable smells, agreeable tastes, agreeable tactile sensations, those bound by the perfection of the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, those bound, tied, connected, settled, attached, and obstructed. Thus, those bound by the condition of mental craving, tied to the pleasures of existence. They cannot attain liberation, for there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found, means 1. These objects of existential pleasures are hard to abandon. 2. Sentient beings are hard to free from them. 1. How are these objects of existential pleasures hard to abandon? Pleasant feeling is hard to abandon. Agreeable things are hard to abandon. Youth is hard to abandon. Health is hard to abandon. Life is hard to abandon. Gain is hard to abandon. Fame is hard to abandon. Praise is hard to abandon. Happiness is hard to abandon. Agreeable forms are hard to abandon. Agreeable sounds. Agreeable smells. Agreeable tastes. Agreeable tactile sensations are hard to abandon. The perfection of the eye is hard to abandon. Ear, nose, tongue, body, minds. Perfection is hard to abandon, hard to relinquish, hard to strongly relinquish, hard to expel, hard to discharge, hard to transcend, hard to ascend beyond, hard to equally surpass, hard to overcome. In this way, these objects of existential pleasures are hard to abandon. 2. How are sentient beings hard to free from them? Sentient beings are hard to free from pleasant feelings, hard to free from agreeable things, hard to free from youth, hard to free from health, hard to free from life, hard to free from gain, hard to free from fame, hard to free from praise, hard to free from happiness, hard to free from agreeable forms, hard to free from agreeable sounds, agreeable smells, agreeable tastes, agreeable tactile sensations, hard to free from the perfection of the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, hard to free, hard to lift up, hard to equally lift up, hard to emerge from, hard to equally emerge from, hard to expel, hard to discharge, hard to transcend, hard to ascend beyond, hard to equally surpass, hard to overcome. In this way, sentient beings are hard to free from them. Thus, they cannot attain liberation. For there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found, means those who have sunk into the mire themselves cannot pull out others who have also sunk into the mire. This was taught by the Blessed One. Kunda, it is not possible for one who has sunk into the mire themselves to pull out another who has sunk into the mire. Kunda, it is not possible for one who is untrained, undisciplined, and has not attained perfect nibbana to train, discipline, and lead another to perfect nibbana. Thus, for there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found. Furthermore, no one else can act as a liberator. If they are to be liberated, it must be through their own strength, vigor, effort, diligence, heroic strength, heroic vigor, heroic effort, and heroic diligence. They must practice the right path, the path in accordance with truth, the path without opposition, the path of meaning, the path where Dhamma remains Dhamma, and thereby liberate themselves. Thus, for there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found. This too was taught by the Blessed One. As the verse says, I cannot liberate you, Dotaka, from all your doubts. Whoever in the world is a doubter cannot be liberated from doubts by another. Therefore, constantly realizing the supreme Dhamma, truth. In this way, you must cross this flood yourself. Thus, for there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found. This too was taught by the Blessed One. As the verse says, indeed, evil done by oneself defile oneself. Evil not done by oneself purifies oneself. Purity and impurity depend on oneself. No one else can purify another. Thus, for there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found. This too was taught by the Blessed One. Brahman, thus it is, Nibbana abides, the path leading to Nibbana abides, and I abide as one who teaches the path. Then, my disciples, being instructed and taught in this way, some attain the ultimate goal of Nibbana, while others do not. Brahman, what can I do about that? The Tathagata is one who proclaims the path. The awakened one proclaims the path. They must practice it themselves and thereby liberate themselves. Thus, for there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found. Therefore, they cannot attain liberation. For there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found. Some people expectantly look to the future or reflect on the past means future, pasha, is explained as future, angata. Reflect on the past, pure, is explained as past, atta. Furthermore, compared to the past, the future and present belong to the future. Compared to the future, the past and present belong to the past. How does one reflect on the past? I was such a form, Rupa. In the past, thereby evoking delight. I was such a feeling, Vedana. Perception, sana. Formations, sakra. Consciousness, vaya. In the past, thereby evoking delight. In this way, one reflects on the past. Furthermore, I had such eyes in the past. Such forms existed, thereby linking their consciousness to desire and greed. Because their consciousness is linked to desire and greed, they take delight in it and become someone who delights in it. In this way, one reflects on the past. I had such ears in the past. Such sounds existed. I had such a nose in the past. Such smells existed. I had such a tongue in the past. Such tastes existed. I had such a body in the past. Such tactile sensations existed. I had such a mind in the past. Such mental objects existed, thereby linking their consciousness to desire and greed. Because their consciousness is linked to desire and greed, they take delight in it and become someone who delights in it. In this way, one reflects on the past. Furthermore, in the past, they may have laughed, joked, and frolicked with women, and now they savor it, crave it, and thereby generate joy. In this way, one reflects on the past. How does one reflect on the future? I will be such a form in the future, thereby evoking delight. I will be such a feeling, perception, formations, consciousness in the future, thereby evoking delight. In this way, one reflects on the future. Furthermore, I will have such eyes in the future. Such forms will exist, thereby contriving the mind to obtain what has not yet been obtained. Because the mind is contrived, they take delight in it and become someone who delights in it. In this way, one reflects on the future. I will have such ears in the future. Such sounds will exist. I will have such a nose in the future. Such smells will exist. I will have such a tongue in the future. Such tastes will exist. I will have such a body in the future. Such tactile sensations will exist. I will have such a mind in the future. Such mental objects will exist, thereby contriving the mind to obtain what has not yet been obtained. Because the mind is contrived, they take delight in it and become someone who delights in it. In this way, one reflects on the future. Furthermore, through this morality, this precept, this austerity, this holy life, I will become a god or one of the god's attendants, thereby contriving the mind to obtain what has not yet been obtained. Because the mind is contrived, they take delight in it and become someone who delights in it. In this way, one reflects on the future. Thus, some people expectantly look to the future or reflect on the past. Craving with greedy thoughts for these present objects of desire or for things of the past means, these present objects of desire refers to the current 5 strands of sensual pleasure, panka kamagu forms, sounds, smells, tastes, and tactile sensations. There are those who desire them, use them, long for them, yearn for them, and crave them. Craving with greedy thoughts for things of the past refers to the past 5 strands of sensual pleasure. Those who crave them, strongly crave them, and firmly crave them. Thus, craving with greedy thoughts for these present objects of desire or for things of the past. Therefore, the Blessed One said, those bound by the condition of mental craving, tied to the pleasures of existence, they cannot attain liberation. For there is no liberation through another, nowhere to be found. Some people expectantly look to the future or reflect on the past, craving with greedy thoughts for these present objects of desire or for things of the past. 780. 774. Those who crave, pursue, and are universally deluded by objects of desire, miserly and clinging to worldly injustice, when brought before the suffering of death, lament, having perished, what will become of us now? Those who crave, pursue, and are universally deluded by objects of desire means objects of desire broadly fall into two categories. 1. Desires for things, and 2. Desires arising from mental defilements. 1. Omitted. C. 3-4. These are called desires for things. 2. Omitted. C. 5-6. These are called desires arising from mental defilements. Craving ta is explained as thirst, namely, lust, raga, attachment, omitted, c. 28. Greed lobha, root of what is unwholesome. Through desires arising from mental defilements, they become stained by desires for things, craving beings, bound beings, indulgent beings, clinging beings, settled beings, attached beings, and obstructed beings. Thus, those who crave. Pursuing means they search for, chase after, and universally seek objects of desire, making them their practice, having much of them, respecting them, inclining toward them, leaning toward them, believing in them, and prioritizing them. Thus, they are said to pursue objects of desire, whether searching for, chasing after, and universally seeking forms, sounds, smells, tastes, tactile sensations, making them their practice, having much of them, respecting them, inclining toward them, leaning toward them, believing in them, and prioritizing them. They are said to pursue objects of desire, whether acquiring forms, sounds, smells, tastes, tactile sensations, making them their practice, having much of them, respecting them, inclining toward them, leaning toward them, believing in them, and prioritizing them. They are said to pursue objects of desire, whether universally benefiting from forms, sounds, smells, tastes, tactile sensations, making them their practice, having much of them, respecting them, inclining toward them, leaning toward them, believing in them, and prioritizing them. They are said to pursue objects of desire. Just as one who engages in conflict is said to pursue conflict, one who works is said to pursue work, one who goes on alms rounds is said to pursue alms, and one who meditates is said to pursue meditation, so too, those who search for, chase after, and universally seek objects of desire, making them their practice, having much of them, respecting them, inclining toward them, leaning toward them, believing in them, and prioritizing them, are said to pursue objects of desire. Universally deluded means that many gods and humans are deluded by the 5 strands of sensual pleasure. Equally deluded, universally deluded. Being deluded, equally deluded, and universally deluded, they become made ignorant, obscured, veiled, covered, blocked, hidden, and enveloped by ignorance. Thus, those who crave, pursue, and are universally deluded by objects of desire. Miserly and clinging to worldly injustice means 1. Miserly also means they go downward. 2. Those with stinginess are also called miserly. 3. Not taking the words, usage of words, teachings, and instructions of the awakened ones and their disciples is also called miserly. 1. How does going downward make one miserly? They go to hell, to the animal womb, to the ghost realm. In this way, going downward makes one miserly. 2. How are those with stinginess called miserly? There are 5 kinds of stinginess. Stinginess regarding dwelling, house, gain, honor, and dhamma. Namely, such forms of stinginess being stingy, having stinginess, greed, meanness, tightness of mind, and possessiveness. This is called stinginess. Furthermore, stinginess regarding the 5 aggregates, the 18 elements, and the 12 sense bases is also called stinginess and possessiveness. This is called stinginess. Those who possess stinginess and miserliness are negligent beings. In this way, those with stinginess are called miserly. 3. How does not taking the words, usage of words, teachings, and instructions of the awakened ones and their disciples make one miserly? They do not take them, do not listen, do not lend an ear, do not arouse a mind of understanding, do not hear, do not speak, and reverse them, speaking differently from the teaching. In this way, not taking the words, usage of words, teachings, and instructions of the awakened ones and their disciples makes one miserly. Those whose minds are fixed on worldly wrongs refers to those whose minds are fixed on bodily misconduct, verbal misconduct, mental misconduct, killing living beings, taking what is not given, engaging in sexual misconduct, lying, divisive speech, harsh speech, idle chatter, greed, ill will, wrong view, formations, sakra. The 5 strands of sensual pleasure, pankakhmagu, and the 5 hindrances, pankanvarani. Their minds are fixed, established, attached, closely tied, clinging, believing, settled, adhering, and obstructed. Thus, miserly and clinging to worldly wrongs, such people. When brought before the suffering of death, they lament means. When brought before the suffering of death, refers to when they reach suffering, attain suffering, approach suffering, reach death, attain death, or approach death. They lament means they wail, cry out, grieve, despair, mourn, beat their chests, scream, and fall into equal delusion. Thus, when brought before the suffering of death, they lament. Having perished, what will become of us now? Means, having perished, what will we become? Will we become beings in hell? In the animal realm? In the ghost realm? Humans? Gods? Beings with form? Beings without form? Beings with perception? Beings without perception? Beings neither with nor without perception. In the future, will we exist? In the future, will we not exist? In the future, how will we exist? In the future, in what manner will we exist? In the future, having become something, in what state will we exist? They fall into doubt, questioning, duality, wailing, crying out, grieving, despairing, mourning, beating their chests, screaming, and fall into equal delusion. Thus, having perished, what will become of us now? Therefore, the Blessed One said, those who crave, pursue, and are universally deluded by objects of desire, miserly and clinging to worldly wrongs, such people, when brought before the suffering of death, lament. Having perished, what will become of us now? 781. 775. Therefore, one should learn in this world. Whatever in the world is known to be wrong, one should avoid performing wrong actions because of it. The wise say, truly, this life is short. Therefore, one should learn in this world means therefore refers to this as the cause, condition, or reason, seeing this danger equally in all objects of desire. Thus, therefore, learn refers to 3 kinds of learning. 1. Higher virtue. 2. Higher mind, meditation. 3. Higher wisdom. 1. What is higher virtue? Here, a monk dwells virtuously, restrained by the Padamaka monastic code, possessing proper conduct and livelihood, seeing danger in minor offenses, undertaking and practicing the training precepts. Small practices, great practices, virtue, foundations, first steps, actions, restraint, control, and entering into various wholesome qualities. All these lead to and culminate in higher virtue. This is higher virtue. 2. What is higher mind, meditation? Here, a monk, detached from sensual desires and unwholesome qualities, enters and dwells in the first jhana, which has applied and sustained thought, accompanied by joy and happiness born of seclusion. With the stilling of applied and sustained thought, he enters and dwells in the second jhana, with internal confidence and unification of mind, without applied or sustained thought, accompanied by joy and happiness born of concentration. With the fading of joy, he dwells equanimous, mindful, and clearly comprehending, experiencing happiness with the body, about which the noble ones declare, he is equanimous, mindful, dwelling happily, thus entering and abiding in the third jhana, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, and the earlier disappearance of joy and sorrow. He enters and dwells in the fourth jhana, which is neither painful nor pleasant, with pure mindfulness due to equanimity. This is higher mind. 3. What is higher wisdom? Here, a monk possesses wisdom, insight that rightly leads to the cessation of suffering, endowed with the knowledge of arising and passing away. He understands, this is suffering, according to reality. This is the origin of suffering, according to reality. This is the cessation of suffering, according to reality. This is the path leading to the cessation of suffering, according to reality. He understands, these are taints, asava, according to reality. This is the origin of taints, according to reality. This is the cessation of taints, according to reality. This is the path leading to the cessation of taints, according to reality. This is higher wisdom. One should learn these three trainings, virtue, meditation, wisdom, with focused attention, knowing them as they are, seeing them as they are, observing them as they are, establishing the mind, believing through faith, arousing effort, being mindful, concentrating the mind, understanding through wisdom, realizing what should be realized, fully knowing what should be fully known, abandoning what should be abandoned, practicing what should be practiced, verifying what should be verified, practicing diligently, and undertaking and maintaining them. In this world refers to this view, acceptance, inclination, teaching, Dhamma, Vinaya, words, holy life, teacher's instruction, self-condition, and human world. Thus, in this world, person, Jantu, refers to sentient beings, humans, omitted, c. 10, beings born from Manu. Thus, therefore, one should learn in this world. Whatever in the world is known to be wrong means whatever refers to everything entirely, completely, without remainder, fully encompassing things. This is whatever. Known to be wrong means recognizing bodily misconduct as wrong, verbal misconduct as wrong, mental misconduct as wrong, killing living beings as wrong, taking what is not given as wrong, sexual misconduct as wrong, lying as wrong, divisive speech as wrong, harsh speech as wrong, idle chatter as wrong, greed as wrong, ill will as wrong, wrong view as wrong, formations as wrong, the 5 strands of sensual pleasure as wrong, and the 5 hindrances as wrong, knowing, understanding, discerning, and comprehending them. In the world refers to the world of bad destinations, omitted, c. 30, the world of the 12 sense bases. Thus, whatever in the world is known to be wrong. One should avoid performing wrong actions because of it means avoiding wrong actions caused by bodily misconduct, verbal misconduct, mental misconduct, killing living beings, taking what is not given, sexual misconduct, lying, divisive speech, harsh speech, idle chatter, greed, ill will, wrong view, formations, the 5 strands of sensual pleasure, and the 5 hindrances. One should not perform, practice, exert, undertake, or maintain them. Thus, one should avoid performing wrong actions because of it. The wise say, truly, this life is short, means life refers to lifespan, abiding, sustaining, maintaining, behaving, practicing, guarding, life and vital faculty, jivatindriya. Furthermore, life is short for 2 reasons. 1, due to the brevity of its abiding. 2, due to the weakness of its function. 1. How is life short due to the brevity of its abiding? In a past moment of mind, one lived in the past but does not live now or in the future. In a future moment of mind, one will live in the future but does not live now or in the past. In a present moment of mind, one lives now but did not live in the past or will live in the future. As the verse says, life and individual existence, as well as pleasure and pain, are all bound to a single moment of mind, which passes lightly. Even gods who abide for 84,000 eons, kalpas, do not live connected to 2 moments of mind, they only arise in 1 moment. The aggregates, khandas, of a dying person or an abiding person, once ceased, are entirely equal, already departed, and incapable of rebirth. There is no difference in characteristics between the aggregates that have just ceased and those that will cease in the future. Their nature is the same. They both cease. If the arisen mind is no longer present, what has arisen is gone, and beings live through the present moment of mind. After the mind ceases, death follows. This is the highest truth, Paramatha. Just as water flows to lower places, driven by craving and conditioned by the 6 sense bases, uninterrupted holding arises. What has ceased does not settle. There is no accumulation in the future. Even if they abide as arisen phenomena, they are like a mustard seed on the tip of a needle. All arisen phenomena are subject to cessation. They abide as phenomena of dissolution and never meet past phenomena. Dissolution comes unseen and departs unseen. Like lightning in the sky, they arise and pass away. Thus, life is short due to the brevity of its abiding. 2. How is life short due to the weakness of its function? Life is connected to exhalation, inhalation, both exhalation and inhalation, the 4 great elements, earth, water, fire, wind, material food, bodily heat and consciousness. The roots of these things are weak, and their causes are weak. As conditions, they are weak, and even as they increase, they remain weak. Things coexisting with them are weak, joined with them are weak, and arising with them are weak. Even if they are objects of craving, they are weak. These things are always weak in relation to each other, unstable, and attack one another. They cannot serve as refuge for each other, nor can they protect each other. Even if they produce others, they are not found, they have already ceased. As the verse says, and by what, where, and who can anything remain undestroyed? Truly, all things are destined to break apart. Because of previous things, these things increase, but even as they increase, they are already dead. And both previous and subsequent things never meet each other at any time. Thus, life is short due to the weakness of its function. Furthermore, compared to the lifespan of the gods of the four great kings, Katamaharajika, the lifespan of humans is short, small, meager, momentary, light, brief, unable to endure time, and lacks long abiding. The lifespan of humans is likewise short compared to the gods of the 33, Tvatisa, omitted, Yama, Tusada, Namanarati, Paranimita Vasavati, and Brahma worlds. This was taught by the Blessed One. Monks, the lifespan of humans is short. The future, next life, is what one must approach. One should awaken through clear wisdom. What one should do is good deeds. One should follow the holy life. For those who are born, there is no escape from death. Monks, if he lives long, he will live for 100 years, or perhaps a little more. Thus, the verse says the lifespan of humans is fleeting. The wise disdain it. One should walk the world as if their head were on fire. There is no escape from the arrival of the Lord of Death. Day and night pass by. Life is broken. The lifespan of humans comes to an end, like the waters of small streams. Thus, indeed, this life is short. The wise say, refers to those who are wise, Durga, thus the wise. Those who are steadfast in the path, Dittamanto, thus the wise. Those who have achieved steadfastness in the path, Dittasampatino, thus the wise. Those who detest evil deeds, Dayakatapapa, thus the wise. Wisdom Dai is called insight. That is, wisdom, awareness, discernment, investigation, discrimination of truth, Dhamma, reflection, close examination, thorough scrutiny, intelligence, skillfulness, precision, clarity, reasoning, keen observation, sagacity, thoughtfulness, universal guidance, objective contemplation, Vipassana, right mindfulness, the guiding whip, wisdom, Panna, the faculty of wisdom, Panandriya, the power of wisdom, Panabala, the sharp edge of wisdom, the lofty tower of wisdom, the light of wisdom, the radiance of wisdom, the lamp of wisdom, the treasure of wisdom, freedom from delusion, discrimination of truth, and right view. Possessing such wisdom, they become the wise. Furthermore, they are the wise in the 5 aggregates, Pankakanda, the 18 elements, Arasadtuyo, the 12 sense bases, Dvadasayatana, dependent origination, Paikasamupta, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, Satipana, the 4 right efforts, Samapadana, the 4 bases of spiritual power, Idhipita, the 5 faculties, Pansandriyani, the 5 powers, Pankabalani, the 7 factors of enlightenment, Satabojhag, the noble path, Aryamaga, the fruits of the ascetic life, Samanaphalani, and Nibbana. Such wise ones declare, the life of humans is short, small, meager, momentary, light, temporary, unable to endure time, and lacks long abiding. Thus they speak, proclaim, articulate, present, and express. Therefore, the wise say, indeed, this life is short. Thus the Blessed One said, therefore one should learn in this world. Whatever in the world is known to be wrong, one should avoid performing wrong actions because of it. The wise say, indeed, this life is short. 782. 776. I see, trembling and quivering people in the world, those fallen into craving for various existences. The inferior ones cry out at the gates of death. unable to abandon the thoughts of craving for various existences. 5. I see trembling and quivering people in the world. I see means I see with the physical eye. I see with the divine eye. I see with the eye of wisdom. I see with the eye of enlightenment. I see with the all-seeing eye. I perceive, I observe, I focus, I gaze intently, I closely examine. In the world refers to the world of bad destinations, the human world, the celestial world, the world of the 5 aggregates, the world of the 18 elements, and the world of the 12 sense bases. Those who tremble and quake. This refers to those who tremble and quake due to craving, those who tremble and quake due to views, those who tremble and quake due to mental defilements, those who tremble and quake due to striving, effort, those who tremble and quake due to karmic results, those who tremble and quake due to evil deeds, those who become greedy and tremble and quake, those who become angry and tremble and quake, those who become deluded and tremble and quake, those who are bound by conceit and tremble and quake, those who are biased by wrong views and tremble and quake, those who have become mentally scattered due to elation and tremble and quake, those who reach no conclusion due to doubt and tremble and quake, those who have become obstinate due to bad habits, latent tendencies, and tremble and quake, those who tremble and quake due to gain, those who tremble and quake due to lack of gain, those who tremble and quake due to fame, those who tremble and quake due to lack of fame, those who tremble and quake due to praise, those who tremble and quake due to blame, those who tremble and quake due to pleasure, those who tremble and quake due to pain, those who tremble and quake due to birth, those who tremble and quake due to old age, those who tremble and quake due to sickness, those who tremble and quake due to death, those who tremble and quake due to sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair, those who tremble and quake due to the suffering of hell, those who tremble and quake due to the suffering of the animal womb, those who tremble and quake due to the suffering of the realm of hungry ghosts, those who tremble and quake due to human suffering, those who tremble and quake due to the suffering rooted in entering the womb, those who tremble and quake due to the suffering rooted in staying in the womb, those who tremble and quake due to the suffering rooted in emerging from the womb, those who tremble and quake due to the suffering connected to being born, those who tremble and quake due to the suffering of being under another's control, those who tremble and quake due to self-inflicted actions, those who tremble and quake due to others' harmful actions, those who tremble and quake due to physical pain, those who tremble and quake due to the suffering of formations, those who tremble and quake due to the suffering of change, those who tremble and quake due to eye diseases, those who tremble and quake due to ear diseases, those who tremble and quake due to nose diseases, omitted for brevity, those who tremble and quake due to bile-related illnesses, phlegm-related illnesses, wind-related illnesses, seasonal changes, unusual postures, sudden illnesses, karmic retribution, cold, heat, hunger, thirst, excrement, urine, bites from gadflies, mosquitoes, wind, heat, or snakes, omitted for brevity. Those who tremble and quake due to the death of a mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, relatives, loss of wealth, illness, moral downfall, or wrong views. Thus, I see, in the world, those who tremble and quake, fallen into craving for various existences. These people here is a synonym for sentient beings. Craving refers to craving for forms, sounds, odors, tastes, touches, and mental objects, dhammas. Fallen into craving means fallen into craving, followed craving, clung to craving, sat near craving, were overwhelmed by craving, conquered by craving, and had their minds completely taken away by craving. For various existences refers to craving for sensuous existence, kama bhava, form existence, rupa bhava, and formless existence, arupa bhava. Thus, fallen into craving for various existences, these people. Lowly people cry out at the gates of the Lord of Death. Lowly people refers to those who possess lowly bodily actions, lowly verbal actions, lowly mental actions, lowly acts of killing living beings, lowly acts of taking what is not given, omitted for brevity. Lowly desires, lowly malevolent thoughts, wrong views, lowly formations, lowly 5 sense pleasures, colors, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches. Lowly hindrances, sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry and doubt. Lowly aspirations, lowly yearnings, and lowly wishes. Being lowly, inferior, base, contemptible, wicked, small, and insignificant, they are called lowly people. Cry out at the gates of the Lord of Death means at the gates of Mara or the gates of death. When they reach the Lord of Death, arrive at the Lord of Death, approach the Lord of Death, reach Mara, arrive at Mara, approach Mara, reach death, arrive at death, or approach death. They cry out, wail, grieve, become weary, lament, beat their chests, and weep, causing equal delusion. Thus, lowly people cry out at the gates of the Lord of Death, not free from the thought of craving for various existences. Craving refers to craving for forms, omitted for brevity. Craving for mental objects. For various existences refers to craving for the existence resulting from actions, kamabhava, and further existence, punabhava. Craving for existence in the sensuous realm, kamabhava. Craving for further existence in the sensuous realm. Craving for existence in the form realm, rupabhava. Craving for further existence in the form realm. Craving for existence in the formless realm, arupabhava. And craving for further existence in the formless realm. Craving for repeated existence, bhava. Repeated realms, gati. Repeated rebirths, repeated conceptions, and repeated manifestations of individual existence. Those who haven't abandoned craving, haven't let go of craving, haven't discarded craving, haven't spit out craving, haven't released craving, haven't renounced craving, and haven't relinquished craving. Thus, not free from the thought of craving for various existences. Thus, the Blessed One said, I see in the world those who tremble and quake, fallen into craving for various existences. These people, lowly people, cry out at the gates of the Lord of Death, not free from the thought of craving for various existences. 783. 777. Behold, those who tremble and quake amidst things mistakenly seen as mine, objects of attachment. Like fish in a stream with little water, dried up, they suffer from anxiety and fear of losing possessions. Seeing this too, one should walk the world without attachment, becoming someone who does not entertain thoughts of attachment towards various existences. One should walk the world without any attachments. 6. Behold, those who tremble and quake amidst things mistakenly seen as mine. Mine refers to two kinds of attachment. 1. Attachment due to craving, and 2. Attachment due to views. 1. What is attachment due to craving? Anything called craving creates boundaries, constraints, limits, extremes, and total appropriation, considering them as mine. This is mine. This belongs to me. Only this much is mine. Up to this point is mine. My forms, my sounds, my odors, my tastes, my touches, my mats, my clothes, my slaves and servants, my goats and sheep, my chickens and pigs, my elephants, cows, horses and mules, my fields, my lands, my coins, my gold, my villages, towns, cities, my country, my region, my storehouses, my treasuries. Even the entirety of the great earth is considered mine due to craving. Altogether, it encompasses the 108 cravings that roam about. This is attachment due to craving. 2. What is attachment due to views? The view of having a body with 20 aspects, the 10 aspects of wrong view, the 10 extreme views, such forms of views, establishment of views, grasping of views, difficulties of views, chaos of views, disputes of views, bonds of views, acquisition, acceptance, fixation, bias, wrong paths, wrong routes, wrong nature, heretical positions, acquisitions of inverted things, acquisitions of fallen things, acquisitions of erroneous things, false acquisitions, claiming something that is not as it truly is to be as it truly is. All 62 kinds of evil views refer to the Brahmajala Sutta, Daya Nikaya 1, within which they exist. This is attachment due to views. Behold, those who tremble and quake amidst things mistakenly seen as mine. When there is suspicion of theft regarding things considered mine, they tremble and quake. When being stolen from, they tremble and quake. After being stolen from, they tremble and quake. When there is suspicion of change regarding things considered mine, they tremble and quake. While changing, they tremble and quake. After changing, they tremble and quake strongly, equally, struggling, trembling, shaking strongly, equally. Thus, behold, recognize, focus on, gaze upon, closely observe those who tremble and quake amidst things mistakenly seen as mine. Like fish in a stream with little water dried up. For example, when water is completely removed, leaving only a little, fish attacked by crows, hawks, or cranes, pulled up, eaten, tremble and quake, tremble strongly, tremble equally, struggle and tremble, shake, shake strongly, shake equally. Similarly, people tremble and quake over things mistakenly seen as mine. Whether suspecting theft, being stolen from, after being stolen from, suspecting change, while changing, after changing, they tremble and quake, tremble strongly, tremble equally, struggle and tremble, shake, shake strongly, shake equally. Thus, like fish in a stream with little water, dried up. Seeing this too, one should walk the world without attachment. Regarding all attachments, seeing this danger, fault, harm, observing, comparing, measuring, discerning and clarifying it. Thus, seeing this too, one should walk the world without attachment. Mine refers to two kinds of attachment. 1. Attachment due to craving, and 2. Attachment due to views. 1. Omitted for brevity, refer to 179. This is attachment due to craving. 2. Omitted for brevity, refer to 180. This is attachment due to views. Abandoning attachment due to craving, relinquishing attachment due to views, one should live without considering eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind, forms, sounds, odors, tastes, touches, mental objects, houses, communities, dwellings, gains, fame, praise, comfort, clothing, alms food, bedding, medicines for illness, the realm of sensuality, kammathana, the realm of form, rupadhatu, the formless realm, arupadhatu, sensuous existence, kama bhava, form existence, rupa bhava, formless, existence, arupa bhava, existence with perception, sana bhava, existence without perception, asana bhava, neither perception nor non-perception existence, nevasanana bhava, existence composed of one aggregate, only form aggregate, for aggregates, excluding form, 5 aggregates, all 5, past, future, present, phenomena to be seen, heard, thought and known, as not mine, without appropriation, without bias, without clinging. One should walk, dwell, behave, conduct oneself, maintain actions, preserve oneself and sustain oneself. Thus, seeing this too, one should walk the world without attachment. Becoming someone who does not entertain thoughts of attachment towards various existences. Towards various existences refers to sensuous existence, form existence, and formless existence. Thoughts of attachment are called craving, greed, lobha, lust, omitted for brevity, refer to 28. Strong greed, desire, raga, the root of unwholesome things. Becoming someone who does not entertain thoughts of attachment towards various existences means becoming someone who does not entertain thoughts of attachment towards various existences, who does not generate thoughts of desire, affection, greed, attachment, cause them to arise, produce them, manifest them, or bring them to fruition. Thus, becoming someone who does not entertain thoughts of attachment towards various existences. Thus, the Blessed One said, "Behold, those who tremble and quake amidst things mistakenly seen as mine, objects of attachment. Like fish in a stream with little water, dried up, they suffer from anxiety and fear of losing possessions. Seeing this too, one should walk the world without attachment. Becoming someone who does not entertain thoughts of attachment towards various existences, one should walk the world without any attachments." 784. 778. Regarding the various opposing extremes, remove thoughts of desire, know thoroughly the contact, phassa, sensory experience of the senses and their objects, and become free from craving. Those who do not engage in self-reproach, wise ones are not defiled by things seen and heard, objects of desire. 7. Regarding the various opposing extremes, remove thoughts of desire. Extremes refers to contact, phassa, sensory experience, as one extreme and the arising of contact as the second extreme. The past is one extreme, and the future is the second extreme. Pleasant feeling, sukha vedana, is one extreme, and painful feeling, dukkha vedana, is the second extreme. Name, nama, mental phenomena, is one extreme, and form, rupa, material form, is the second extreme. The 6 internal sense bases, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, are one extreme, and the 6 external sense bases, form, sound, smell, taste, touch, mental objects, are the second extreme. Having a body, sakhya, is one extreme, and the arising of having a body is the second extreme. Thoughts of desire refer to desire for the 5 objects of desire, greed for the objects of desire, delight in the objects of desire, craving for the objects of desire, attachment to the objects of desire, anguish over the objects of desire, indulgence in the objects of desire, clinging to the objects of desire, the flood of the objects of desire, bondage to the objects of desire, grasping the objects of desire, and obstruction of thoughts of desire for the objects of desire. Regarding the various opposing extremes, remove thoughts of desire, means that regarding the various opposing extremes, thoughts of desire should be removed, eradicated, abandoned, eliminated, brought to cessation, and led to a state of non-existence. Thus, regarding the various opposing extremes, remove thoughts of desire. Know thoroughly the contact, phassa, of the senses and their objects, and become free from craving. Contact refers to eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, tongue contact, body contact, mind contact, contact with names, contact with adversarial objects, opposing things. Contact felt as pleasant, contact felt as painful, contact felt as neither pleasant nor painful, wholesome contact, unwholesome contact, indeterminate contact, avyakata phassa, contact in the realm of sensuality, contact in the realm of form, contact in the formless realm, contact of emptiness, contact of signlessness, contact of wishlessness, worldly contact, lokiya phassa, supermundane contact, lokuttara phassa, past contact, future contact, present contact. That is, such forms of contact, touching, contacting, and the presence of contact. This is called contact. Know thoroughly the contact, phassa, of the senses and their objects. Know contact through 3 kinds of thorough understanding. 1. Understanding of the known. 2. Understanding through inference. And 3. Understanding through abandonment. 1. What is understanding of the known? 1 knows contact. This is eye contact. This is ear contact. This is nose contact. This is tongue contact. This is body contact. This is mind contact. This is name contact. This is adversarial object contact. This is contact felt as pleasant. This is contact felt as painful. This is contact felt as neither pleasant nor painful. This is wholesome contact. This is unwholesome contact. This is indeterminate contact. This is contact in the realm of sensuality. This is contact in the realm of form. This is contact in the formless realm. This is contact of emptiness. This is contact of signlessness. This is contact of wishlessness. This is worldly contact. This is supermundane contact. This is past contact. This is future contact. This is present contact. Knowing and seeing them as they really are. This is understanding of the known. 2. What is understanding through inference? Having understood the known in this way, one infers about contact. From the perspective of impermanence, suffering, disease, boil, arrow, distress, affliction, otherness, decay, illness, calamity, fear, disaster, instability, destruction, impermanence, lack of refuge, lack of shelter, lack of reliance, voidness, falsity, emptiness, non-self, danger, changeability, essencelessness, root of suffering, killer, non-existence, tainted by defilements, conditioned, sakra, bait for Mara, the nature of birth, aging, sickness, and death, the nature of sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair, the nature of mental defilements, origination, cessation, gratification, danger, escape. One infers. This is understanding through inference. 3. What is understanding through abandonment? Having inferred in this way, one abandons, removes, ceases, and leads to a state of non-existence regarding thoughts of desire and greed for contact. Precisely, this was taught by the Blessed One. Monks, if there are thoughts of desire and greed for contact, abandon them. In this way, that contact will be abandoned, its root cut off, made like a palm stump, made into a state of non-existence, and become a phenomenon that will not arise in the future. This is understanding through abandonment. Know thoroughly the contact, phassa, of the senses and their objects. Know contact through these 3 kinds of thorough understanding. Become free from craving. Craving is called greed, lobha. That is, greed, raga, lust. Omitted for brevity, refer to 28. Strong greed, desire, raga, the root of unwholesome things. When one's craving is abandoned, eradicated, calmed, rested, and becomes incapable of arising, burned by the fire of wisdom, one is called free from craving. One becomes free from craving for forms, sounds, odors, tastes, touches, houses, communities, dwellings, gains, fame, praise, comfort, clothing, alms food, bedding, medicines for illness. The realm of sensuality, kama dhatu. The realm of form, rupa dhatu. The formless realm, arupa dhatu. Sensuous existence, kama bhava. Form existence, rupa bhava. Formless existence, arupa bhava. Existence with perception, sana bhava. Existence without perception, asana bhava. Neither perception nor non-perception existence, nevasananasana bhava. Existence composed of one aggregate, only form aggregate. For aggregates, excluding form, 5 aggregates, all 5. Past, future, present, phenomena to be seen, heard, thought, and known. Free from craving, unbound, detached, liberated, free from fetters. With a heart that has abandoned constraints, one dwells in the world. Thus, know thoroughly the contact, phassa, of the senses and their objects, and become free from craving. Those who do not engage in self-reproach, precisely those who do not engage in self-reproach, do not cause it to arise, do not produce it, do not manifest it, and do not bring it to fruition. Wise ones are not defiled by things seen and heard, objects of desire. Thus, the Blessed One said, regarding the various opposing extremes, remove thoughts of desire, know thoroughly the contact, phassa, sensory experience of the senses and their objects, and become free from craving. Those who do not engage in self-reproach, wise ones are not defiled by things seen and heard, objects of desire. By this, the Blessed One said, understand fully the concepts in the mind and transcend the torrents of greed, become a sage, muni, unsoiled by objects of attachment, possessions. Pull out the arrows of greed and walk through the world without negligence, desiring neither this world nor the next. To understand fully the concepts in the mind and transcend the torrents of greed means, concepts refer to concepts of desire, aversion, harm, detachment, non-aversion, harmlessness, forms, sounds, odors, tastes, touches, and mental objects. That is to say, such are the forms of concepts conceptualizing and having concepts. This is what is called concepts. To understand fully the concepts means to understand concepts through 3 kinds of full understanding. 1. Understanding as known. 2. Understanding by inference. 3. Understanding by abandonment and fully understand them. 1. What is understanding as known? He knows the concepts. This is a concept of desire. This is a concept of aversion. This is a concept of harm. This is a concept of detachment. This is a concept of non-aversion. This is a concept of harmlessness. This is a concept of form. This is a concept of sound. This is a concept of odor. This is a concept of taste. This is a concept of touch. This is a concept of mental objects. Knowing and seeing them as they really are. This is understanding as known. 2. What is understanding by inference? Having thus understood them as known, he infers the concepts from the perspective of impermanence, suffering, disease, boil, arrow, distress, affliction, alienation, disintegration, sickness, calamity, fear, disaster, instability, destructibility, impermanence, lack of refuge, lack of shelter, lack of reliance, emptiness, falsity, voidness, selflessness, danger, changeability, lack of essence, root of suffering, killer, non-existence, defilement, conditioned phenomena, demon's bait, the nature of birth, aging, sickness, and death, the nature of sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair, the nature of mental taints, origination, cessation, gratification, danger, and escape. He infers them. This is understanding by inference. 3. What is understanding by abandonment? Having thus inferred, he abandons, removes, ceases, and brings to a stateless condition the desire and greed for concepts. Precisely this was taught by the Blessed One. Monks, if there is desire and greed for concepts, abandon it. Thus, that concept will be abandoned, its root cut off, made like a palm stump, brought to a stateless condition, and will not arise in the future. This is understanding by abandonment. To understand fully the concepts means to fully understand the concepts through these three kinds of full understanding. To transcend the torrents of greed means to transcend, rise above, climb over, equally surpass, and overcome the torrents of desire, existence, views, and ignorance. Thus, understand fully the concepts in the mind and transcend the torrents of greed. To become a sage unsoiled by objects of attachment means objects of attachment refers to two kinds of attachments. 1. And it is the attachment of craving. 2. Furthermore, it is the attachment of view. 179 参照 This is the attachment of craving. 183参照 This is the attachment of view. Sage, muni, means silence, mauna, which is explained as wisdom, namely, wisdom, discernment, 167 tanjal, free from delusion, discrimination of truth, right view. One who possesses such wisdom is a sage, one who has attained silence. There are three qualities of a sage. 1. The quality of bodily sagehood. 2. The quality of verbal sagehood. 3. The quality of mental sagehood. 1. What is the quality of bodily sagehood? The abandonment of the three kinds of bodily misconduct, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, is the quality of bodily sagehood. The practice of the three kinds of good bodily conduct, non-killing, non-stealing, non-sexual misconduct, is the quality of bodily sagehood. Wisdom regarding the object of the body is the quality of bodily sagehood. Full understanding of the body is the quality of bodily sagehood. The path endowed with full understanding is the quality of bodily sagehood. The abandonment of desire and greed for the body is the quality of bodily sagehood. The cessation of bodily formations, inhalation and exhalation, leading to the fourth meditation, fourth jhana, is the quality of bodily sagehood. This is the quality of bodily sagehood. 2. What is the quality of verbal sagehood? The abandonment of the four kinds of verbal misconduct, false speech, divisive speech, harsh speech, idle chatter, is the quality of verbal sagehood. The practice of the four kinds of good verbal conduct, truthful speech, non-divisive speech, gentle speech, meaningful speech, is the quality of verbal sagehood. Wisdom regarding the object of speech is the quality of verbal sagehood. Full understanding of speech is the quality of verbal sagehood. The path endowed with full understanding is the quality of verbal sagehood. The abandonment of desire and greed for speech is the quality of verbal sagehood. The cessation of verbal formations, thought and reflection, leading to the second meditation, second jhana, is the quality of verbal sagehood. This is the quality of verbal sagehood. 3. What is the quality of mental sagehood? The abandonment of the three kinds of mental misconduct, covetousness, ill will, wrong view, is the quality of mental sagehood. The practice of the three kinds of good mental conduct, non-covetousness, non-ill will, right view, is the quality of mental sagehood. Wisdom regarding the object of mind is the quality of mental sagehood. Full understanding of mind is the quality of mental sagehood. The path endowed with full understanding is the quality of mental sagehood. The abandonment of desire and greed for mind is the quality of mental sagehood. The cessation of mental formations leading to the cessation of perception and feeling is the quality of mental sagehood. This is the quality of mental sagehood. Thus, the verse says, one whose body is silent, speech is silent, mind is silent, free from defilements. A sage who has accomplished the three qualities of sagehood, the wise call one who has renounced everything. One whose body is silent, speech is silent, mind is silent, free from defilements. A sage who has accomplished the three qualities of sagehood, the wise call one who has been cleansed of all impurities. There are 6 sages who possess these 3 qualities of sagehood. Householders who are sages, homeless ones who are sages, those still in training who are sages, those no longer in training who are sages, solitary ones who are sages, and sages who are truly sages. Who are the householders who are sages? Namely, they are householders who have seen the realm of nirvana and comprehended the teaching of the Blessed One. These are the householders who are sages. Who are the homeless ones who are sages? Namely, they are those who have renounced worldly life, seen the realm of nirvana, and comprehended the teaching of the Blessed One. These are the homeless ones who are sages. The 7 who are still in training, stream enter path, stream enter fruition, once returner path, once returner fruition, non-returner path, non-returner fruition, arahant path, are the sages still in training. Arahants are the sages no longer in training. Solitary Buddhas, Pratyabuddhas, are the solitary sages. Sages who are truly sages are the Tathagatas, the arahants and fully enlightened ones. Thus, the verse says, a deluded person of confused form does not become a sage merely by silence. However, if he, as a wise person, grasps what is excellent as if holding a balance, if he avoids all evils, he is a sage, and thereby he becomes a sage. If he considers both good and evil in the world as they really are, thereby he is called a sage. Moreover, knowing the natures of the unrighteous and the righteous internally and externally in all worlds, namely, honored by gods and humans, he transcends the net of attachment and is called a sage. Defilements refers to 2 kinds of defilements. 1, and it is the defilement of craving. 2, furthermore, it is the defilement of view. 1、ルエ、179、参照。This is the defilement of craving. 2、ルエ、183章. This is the defilement of view. The sage abandons the defilement of craving and discards the defilement of view, remaining unsoiled by objects of attachment, not strongly soiled, not closely soiled, not soiled at all, not strongly soiled, not closely soiled, detached, liberated, freed, unbound, and dwells in the world with a mind that has relinquished constraints. Thus, become a sage unsoiled by objects of attachment. To pull out the arrows of greed and walk through the world without negligence means. Arrows refer to 7 arrows. The arrow of greed, the arrow of anger, the arrow of delusion, the arrow of conceit, the arrow of view, the arrow of sorrow, the arrow of doubt. When these arrows of his are abandoned, severed, calmed, at peace, incapable of arising again, and burned by the fire of wisdom, he is called one who has pulled out the arrows of greed, one who has removed the arrows, one who has extracted the arrows, one who has equally extracted the arrows, one who has plucked out the arrows, one who has discarded the arrows, one who has spat out the arrows, one who has released the arrows, one who has abandoned the arrows, one who has relinquished the arrows, one who is free from desire, one who has reached nirvana, one whose mind has become cool, one who has attained bliss, and one who dwells in the world with a self that has become divine. Thus, pull out the arrows of greed. One who walks through the world means one who walks through the world, one who dwells in the world, one who behaves, one who practices, one who guards actions, one who maintains oneself, one who continues maintaining oneself. Without negligence means being earnest in all good qualities, always acting, acting without stagnation, living without shrinking back, one who does not neglect intention, desire, one who does not neglect the burden, patience. How should I perfect the category of morality not yet perfected, or support the already perfected category of morality in each situation with wisdom, namely, in that place and with intention, desire, effort, exertion, energy, unwavering diligence, mindfulness, and clear comprehension, in all good qualities, zeal, diligence, establishment of mind, devoted effort, and non-negligence. How should I perfect the category of concentration not yet perfected, or support the already perfected category of concentration in each situation with wisdom? In all good qualities, zeal, diligence, establishment of mind, devoted effort, and non-negligence. How should I perfect the category of wisdom not yet perfected, the category of liberation, the category of knowledge of liberation not yet perfected, or support the already perfected category of knowledge of liberation in each situation with wisdom, namely, in that place and with intention, desire, effort, exertion, energy, unwavering diligence, mindfulness, and clear comprehension, in all good qualities, zeal, diligence, establishment of mind, devoted effort, and non-negligence. How should I fully understand suffering not yet fully understood? Abandon defilements not yet abandoned. Practice the path not yet practiced. Realize cessation not yet realized. Namely, in that place and with intention, desire, effort, exertion, energy, unwavering diligence, mindfulness, and clear comprehension, in all good qualities, zeal, diligence, establishment of mind, devoted effort, and non-negligence. Thus, pull out the arrows of greed and walk through the world without negligence. Not desiring this world or the next means not desiring one's own state of being in this world, and not longing for another state of being in the next world. It means not yearning for the form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness that constitute this world, nor for the form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness of another world. It means not desiring the 6 internal sense bases, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind of this world, nor the 6 external sense bases, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, mental objects of another world. It means not seeking the human realm of this world, nor the heavenly realm of another world. It does not involve craving the realm of desire, the realm of form, or the formless realm of this world, nor the formless realm of another world. One does not aspire to further existence, rebirth, renewed becoming, continuation of life, or the cycle of samsara. One does not wish for, crave, cling to, long for, or thirst for any of these things. Thus, not desiring this world or the next. Therefore, the Blessed One said, fully understanding mental concepts, transcending the torrents of greed, becoming a sage unsoiled by objects of attachment, pulling out the arrow of greed and walking through the world without negligence. Such a person does not desire this world or the next. This concludes the explanation of the discourse on the 8 aspects of the cave.